This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. Bernie Sanders calls for all medical debt to be canceled. This comes after the announcement that medical debt will be removed from credit reports. I'll also play the latest video clip from Bernie Sanders. I'll give you the latest to what's going on with gas stimulus checks and the proposals, how one of them is paying up to $300 per month, and what are the $600 stimulus checks in 2022 and who could get them. And hundreds of families are getting monthly $500 payments from this month. See who qualifies. President Biden is headed to Europe today, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video, but first, Biden heads across the Atlantic to rally the West at a pivotal moment for Ukraine and his presidency. So he's going to a NATO summit, which is in Brussels, Belgium, and he's going to try to gain a lot of support and put more sanctions on the Russian parliament members, which is kind of like the U.S. Congress members, those types of people. So he's heading there now, and Biden may announce U.S. plans to maintain increased number of U.S. troops in NATO countries near Ukraine, and I think they actually sent more U.S. troops to other NATO countries, which basically is comprised of 30 different nations. What they say is an attack on one nation is an attack on all the nations, and so if anything spills over from Ukraine to any of those NATO nations, it's going to be a really ugly situation. So what's going on with the whole Russia war in Ukraine, and how is it affecting us? So Russia's war in Ukraine disrupts worldwide food prices and supply. So any food that was supposed to be exported and shipped from either Russia or Ukraine and harvested, especially since spring is coming up. Looks like there's going to be no harvest going on in Ukraine. That is going to disrupt the food supply as well. Food prices are already getting high. Doesn't seem like they're going to go down anytime soon. And when it comes to medical debt news, so Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian will soon stop counting medical debt in credit reports. So basically, those are the three credit bureaus, which anytime you need to pull up your credit report, you're going to have those three credit bureaus let you know what's going on. If you had medical debt, it's going to be erased from those credit reports, which means a lot of people's credit scores could go up. So let me know, is this a good idea, bad idea? Also, if you want any tips of how to raise your credit scores, you could check out other videos on my channel, or just type in Wisefly's Raise Credit. That's pretty much what this channel was about before I started doing daily economic news, so you could check out those videos if you want to raise your credit. And Bernie Sanders, after this announcement, basically says Bernie Sanders calls for the cancellation of all medical debt. Let me know your thoughts on that. Should all medical debt be canceled? Personally, with my experience of helping people raise their credit scores, and when I would look at credit reports, a lot of them had medical debt. Something would come up and there would be really high charge for anything medical related, also medication, and I would say third was consumer spending on credit cards. But medical debt was one of those things that was there and it just never went away. Should it be canceled? Is this a good idea, bad idea? So Bernie Sanders says that praised the move of that the medical debt will be removed, but said that it doesn't go far enough. Medical debt and medical bankruptcy are two phrases that should not exist in the United States of America. Removing 70% of past due medical debt from credit reports is a step in the right direction, and much more needs to be done. We must cancel all medical debt. Take a look at this video clip right here of Bernie Sanders talking more in his latest clip.
Over the last many decades, there has been in this country a massive redistribution of wealth. Unfortunately, that redistribution has gone in the wrong direction. It has gone from the middle class and working families to the top 1%. Now, I understand that that is not an issue that we talk about much here on the floor of the Senate, not an issue we talk about much in the media, but it is an issue that must be talked about and, more importantly, must be dealt with. And listen to this, which I think really says it all. During this terrible pandemic, when many thousands of essential workers died on the job, they went to work in order to feed their families, they contracted the virus, and thousands of them died. During that same period of time, over 700 billionaires in America became nearly $2 trillion richer. Working people die on the job because they have to feed their families, and 700 people, not a whole lot of people, became $2 trillion richer. So that is where we are today. Desperate workers are dying because they are forced to go to work to provide for their families, while the people on top are doing unbelievably well. Today, billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson are zooming off in their spaceships to outer space. They're buying $500 million super yachts, and they're buying mansions with 25 bathrooms, while half of our people live paycheck to paycheck. Is that really what America is supposed to be about? We are discussing now, in the midst of this horrific war in the Ukraine, there's been a lot of discussion about the Russian oligarchy, and that is absolutely appropriate, because in Russia you have a handful of billionaires attached to Putin who own unbelievable wealth. But what do we think we have now in this country? It's an American oligarchy, as the distribution of wealth and income becomes worse and worse every day. Madam President, the American people want those of us in Congress to take action to address the unprecedented level of corporate greed and income and wealth inequality that we are seeing right now. They are sick and tired of large corporations making record profits and in a given year paying nothing, zero, in federal taxes. They are sick and tired of billionaires paying a lower effective tax rate than a teacher, a nurse, a truck driver, or a firefighter. The American people want Congress to address corporate greed and make certain that the wealthiest people and most profitable corporations pay their fair share of taxes. And yet, this week, right now, what are we debating here on the floor of the Senate? We are debating legislation to provide some $53 billion in corporate welfare with no strings attached to the highly profitable microchip industry. And yes, if you can believe it, and I suspect there are people out there who really don't believe it, but I am telling you the truth, this legislation also provides a $10 billion bailout to Jeff Bezos so that his company, Blue Origin, can launch a rocket ship to the moon. Madam President, in terms of the microchip industry, let us be very clear. We are talking about an industry that has shut down over 780 manufacturing plants in the United States and eliminated 150,000 American jobs over the last 20 years, while moving most of its production overseas. In other words, in order to make more profits, these companies shut down plants in the United States and hired cheap labor abroad.
What do you think? Do you agree with Bernie Sanders? Disagree? Let me know your thoughts on what he said there. Next, let's get into the stimulus check news, the latest stimulus check articles. So, what are the $600 stimulus checks in 2022 and who could get them? To save you some time, this program ended March 10th, although this article just came out. But basically, the $600 stimulus checks were for farm workers and meat packers. So basically, they're the ones who are getting the $600 payment. This bill did say it was going to include grocery workers, although there was no further details. So I don't think it's going to include grocery workers anymore. But basically, those $600 checks, the applications closed on March 10th. Then Governor Walz pushes for $500 Minnesota stimulus checks. So in Minnesota, they're pushing for $500 checks for singles, $1,000 checks for couples, and then monthly stimulus checks worth $350 proposed under Family Security Act of 2022. Would you get the cash? So basically, this is Mitt Romney's version of the child tax credit, which could pay up to $350 per month instead of the $300. Has a few more restrictions, but this hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't been adopted by the Democrats. Definitely not adopted by or endorsed by the Republicans. So this is sort of one of those bills that was just put out there and not really gaining any traction. So I wouldn't expect this to happen anytime soon. And Biden considered sending gas cards to Americans. This was talk last week from the White House, although nothing is coming about it. I'll go over the latest gas stimulus check proposals updates in a moment. Also, hundreds of families are getting monthly $500 payments from this month. See who qualifies. So this is a new universal basic income program. Basically, these forms payments known as are being launched in 6 nonprofit organizations. So this is going. One of them is New Mexico Cafe, which is confirmed that it's going to give 330 families in New Mexico. It's going to give them 12 months. And it's going to give $500 per month. And the way you see who's eligible, applications were open from January 24th to February 7th, which means that you can't apply for it now. So I'm not really sure why they're sharing this information, but there's a few other different $500 per month checks going out as well. And then stimulus update, $100 monthly check proposed to cover high gas prices. So currently there are 3 gas stimulus check proposals. This $100 per month could actually be up to $300 because a couple will get $200, and if you have a dependent, you could get $300 total. So 100, 100, 100. Take a look at this video clip right here, given the latest.
Gas prices are slowly coming down, but the pain at the pump continues. People in North Carolina can expect to pay $4.07 for a gallon of unleaded gas. That is 10 cents lower than this time last week. Imagine that. And in South Carolina, that drops to $3.95.
And so House Democrats have several proposals to try to help Americans cover these high gas prices. Now, the first idea here is an energy rebate check. It would be similar to those stimulus payments that we got during the pandemic. It would be based on income. Individuals under this proposal would get $100 a month. Couples would get $200, and then their dependents would get $100. And this would last as long as the national gas price exceeds $4 a gallon. It is still unclear exactly where the money for this would come from. The second proposal is what's called the Stop Gas Price Gouging Tax and Rebate Act. Yes, I know that's a mouthful there. The bill, however, does not use the national gas price average as a measuring stick like we saw with the last idea, but it does call for households to get a monthly advance tax credit that's similar to last year's monthly child tax credit. That money would come from taxes on oil companies. And then there's a similar bill that's also going to target big oil companies, but that will call for quarterly payments to Americans who meet the same income thresholds.
What are your thoughts on that? Which of the 3 is your favorite? Seems like the potential up to $300 or at least $100 per month seems to probably be the most popular, but let me know your thoughts on all those gas stimulus checks and whether or not if you think that they should be approved. So at this point, it's not really approved yet. And that is all the stimulus news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I just want to tell you that you should always stay happy, no matter what. Even if something really happened in your life, you should always stay positive and happy and just move on, and you should always be nice to others.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Don't forget about the $200 checks I'm giving to subscribers. Details down in the description below. And Bella is going to start her musical theater class today. She's been saying that she wanted to get involved with that. So on Wednesdays now in the afternoon, we're going to do her class with that. So today is the first day. She's a little nervous, but as you see her talk in the videos, you know, she kind of, when she gets in the flow, she's in the flow. So I'll let you know how that goes. And if you want to check out any of my latest videos on my other channels, whether pickleball or wise buys, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.